morning, good evening, good night. Welcome, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Wednesday, the 8th day of November 2023. Welcome, one and all. Welcome. You know the routine, just share the live, let people know that we are on and we are ready and we are raring to go. My colleague is already in the studio waiting for the opportunity to communicate with you and bring you the good information, the credible information that you so much need to hear. So here we are, another day that the Lord has made. We have to rejoice and be glad in it. As is usual, many students from very early in the schoolyard, they were in the yard even before the school door or the doors were open. They were a very, very dedicated student, anxious to be taught, anxious to get valid, credible information. So here we are with you again on this blessed day. We have to give praise and thanks, as we always say, for being in the land of the living. As I indicated some time ago, we have so many things. Every day that we come on this live, we have so many things to tell you, so many things. And even though we are now going to 2 days or we have gone to 2 days a week, time. So people will say that we have to think about going additional days. We will continue to think about that. Because we say once we have the information, we will bring it to you. We have so much to tell you. And as I say, share the live. I see the numbers are mounting rapidly. You have to always cater for those who are going to run in a little late for whatever reason. Last Monday when we had the program, a lot of people came on afterwards and they said that they were unable, and they made these comments on YouTube and Facebook. They were able to view the live because of blackout. Blackout is a daily thing for many of us in Guyana. Every day you get your daily dose of blackout. And in many cases, you get several doses during the course of the day. Somebody told me this morning that they are preparing for Christmas lights, what we call fairy lights, on and off, blinking on and off. The problem with that, it has the potential to damage some of your appliances. So you have to be extremely careful. We have heard about fires as a result of that type of fluctuating voltage. So be safe, my folks, my students. Be safe is something that we have to learn to live with. If we're also in Guyana, blackout and the absence of potable water coming through the taps. When the water comes through, the color is not one that you will want to even touch your skin. So yes, that is what we have. So share the live and let people know that we are ready and we are ready to go. And we're going to go into the roll call in a short while to tell you how many students turn up very, very early. We have some new, well, not new, we have some persons who are in the classroom earlier than usual, very earlier than usual. That is good. That shows dedication, that shows commitment. And we welcome. We are going to reciprocate. Because once we see that type of commitment and that dedication from the students, we're going to make sure we come, we do research, and we bring you the credible and valid information. So as I've said, share the live, let them know that we're here. People from all over, you can see when you look at the some of the comments. UK is in the house. I know Barbados, Trinidad, Antigua, Guyana, of course, the various states in the US, Canada, Paris, and all of these places people are tuning in from. French Guyana, Suriname, you see all of these people here and they're commenting. And, we also give time for those detractors, give them enough time to come. They have not been here. They have not been in their numbers. I suspect they come in quietly and they're listening and they are learning, if indeed they are capable of learning. But all are involved. Who want to learn, can tune in and can learn. Those who want to tune in and learn. And sometimes when I see some of the comments, I have to remark that comprehension is a very difficult thing for some people. They don't comprehend. Because I remember not so long ago, we spoke about this Chow Pao matter, and where he was arrested for common assault, kept for 72 hours, handcuffed and shackled to be going to court. The prosecutor asked for bail to be refused, and he was put on $50,000 bail. I'm not commenting, say, well, he ain't above the law. which clearly shows that the person who made that comment doesn't comprehend what is going on. It's not about being above the law. We said on this program that if you break the law, you should face the consequences. But there's something that they call rule of law. There's something that call equal treatment under the law. And that's what we're saying. That wasn't equal treatment having regards to the allegation that was made against him. But you'll always have those forces, man. Some people will come on and tell us, forget about the detractors. So we tend to forget about them and we go on to bring you the information. But let me do the roll call so that we can see. Tessa, welcome. 4 students in class this morning. Tessa, a regular. Then we have Patricia, always here. Hazel, Pamela. I know Pamela say that she's not sure she's gonna be in class all day because the schedule blackout for where she is. Brennan from New York. Then we have John was here. John, welcome. John, Carlisle, Paul from Canada is in the house. Kenneth is in the house. Carlton is in school. My squad mate, 9430. Como from New Jersey is here. Wayne from the UK. Derek from the GT. Charlene is in the house. Stian, Vibert, never miss a program. Vibert is always here. Old colleague from Sparnda Police Station. When I joined in 1973 as a special constable, Vibert was one of the regular policemen there. Conway Clinton Squaddy, 1966 last night. I remember that well. He and I even go further back to youth corps days. Barlett from Linden is in school. Pauline is there. Sean, I saw a report that you were absent from class on Monday. I told them that we'll demand an explanation because we know from your record you've always been present. So there must be some reason for you not being here. I know it can't be blackout because you say that you tune in from Manhattan, from New York, someplace there. Brian is in the house, followed by Courtney. Vernon, welcome. Carville, another squad mate of mine. Gaston, another squad mate. He said he did his 5K run and he's feeling fresh to attend class. Well done. Well done. Got to stay fit. Isabella, Raul is here in class. Jean, Jakey is very much here. Evelina is here. Patricia, Orl, Colin from Queens, Magnell, Felicia, Rhonda, Aileen, always here. Lucius, Ian is here. Stefan, old man from Brigdam, the best there, Brigdam Bar, welcome. Carl, I noted Carl is here from Arizona. On Monday, he was in Mexico, so he's traveling. Queenie from West Coast Barbies. Winston is from California, he's in the house. Floyd is here. Francis, still in Pennsylvania, via Melanie, via Queens, still in the house. TK is in the house. Terrence King, 9135. He's now in California. Only last week, he was in Guyana. And TK, let me take this opportunity to thank you for the contribution to the program. Much appreciated. Welcome, TK. Evelyn is here. Denise, John, I met John in person a few weeks ago. It was a nice meeting. John is in class. Vibert from the East Bank is always here. Doreen from Canada. Leslie is in class. Quinn, I can't recall seeing Quinn before. Welcome, Quinn. He's from New Jersey, he says he's from New Jersey. Ulrich is in the house. Winston from the UK is in the house. Gordon is an old police from, he lives in Canada now. His regulation number was 6659. Welcome. Then we had Ronald and George, old police again, countryman. Philip is here. Heather is in the house. Shamlin, Sandra. So you see what I told you all, or what I tell you about the many students in the classroom. We can see all of these people on YouTube long before the program gets started. Then we had the Chilo is here. John Pito, 8152 from Queens. Desiree, my next squad mate. Stevens, 9555. Always remember that number. Corinne is in the house. Oren from the UK, my old domino sparring partner. Rose is in the house. Charles, another old police. Mandela is in the house as well. Princess, Lamar Springs, 616123. I think is our number is in the house. Then we have Ingrid, was the last person on YouTube before we went live. When we went live, we had Shelly, we had Simone, we had Jeanette, Unruly Pat is there as well. Mario, William, Popo is always in the house. E2 is here. Machu, Jacko, and from Georgia, Debbie, Lynette from Barbados. Yeah, so people are here, and welcome one and all. Share the live. Continue to share the live. Let them know that we have fantastic numbers already, but let's continue to share. Don't be selfish. Let's invite others to join the session. So let me start. Where do I start? I want to start for people like Ulrich, Aileen, and the other cricket lovers, Gavin, Jaku. Oh, what a game yesterday. What a game yesterday. Glenn Maxwell was at his best. 91 for 7, I think Australia were chasing 292. And they ended up with 292 for the same 7. Maxwell 201. Let me give you figures, 201 off of 128 deliveries, 21 fours, and 10 sixes. The man's strike rate was at 157. And here the thing about this, the partnership between Maxwell and the captain, Pat Cummins, a partnership of 202, and Pat Cummins' contribution was 12 off 68 balls at a strike rate of 17.6. Partnership body, that was a fantastic. People have rated it as one of the best one-day 50-over innings ever. And I don't, you'll have to really go into the archives to find anything that matches that. 91 for 7. 91 for 7. And the one man, look at the percentage that he runs this one-man school. Cricket, as I say, is a game of glorious uncertainties. Because I can tell you, when I looked at 91 for 7, I said, that's it. Australia dead and buried. We're only waiting for the fat lady was singing. We're only waiting for the last rites. But that is how it turned out. And I think that qualified them for the semifinals. So based on what I have seen, it's India, South Africa, Australia, and the 4th place looks like between New Zealand and Pakistan. Let's enjoy the cricket. But one of the significant things that people might not have picked up on, and I pick up over the past couple of days, is that the top 8 will automatically qualify for the Champions Trophy in 2025. So England fighting now to get into the top 8. They're fighting to get into the top 8 so they can qualify for Champions Trophy in 2025. So let's continue. Let's continue to enjoy the cricket. Let's continue. Let me bring in CC, and then we can move on. My colleague, how are you? Welcome.
I'm well, and happy to be in the land of the living. Praise the Lord that He has given us the opportunity to do His work. So we're going to move on with it.
Yeah. Somebody's saying here, what about Shinshan asked about Viv Richards 189. I remember Viv Richards had a fantastic partnership, he and Michael Olin. But I know the experts are saying that has to be rated at least among the best, if not the best, among the best ODI innings. And I agree. Well, yeah, Sean, because you also had, if you recall, back in 1975, I don't know if you were born then, I was born, and I remember that is the first World Cup, what they call the Prudential World Cup in 1975. Murray and Andy Roberts, West Indies against Pakistan. West Indies were almost dead and buried. And Andy Roberts and Derek Murray steered us to victory. We went on to win that trophy. So, yeah, there must have been innings that are comparable. But I know for certain that this is going to be up there with one of those great one-day innings. Let me move on. What's well, some people don't know when to stay quiet and to stay out of the limelight. And I refer here to the Minister of Education, Priya Manikchand, in relation to this Mahdia Commission of Inquiry. The Mahdia Commission of Inquiry is going on. And quickly, remember the fire at Mahdia at the school dorm? that killed 20 children. And the Commission of Inquiry, we raised some doubts about the Commission of Inquiry from the inception. Because when we saw the composition, and when we saw that the Minister of Education was at the swearing-in ceremony, we questioned, why was the Minister of Education at the swearing-in ceremony of the Mahdia Commission of Inquiry, when from all appearances at that time, she should have been a main witness? So we asked the question. It was revealed during last week that the Commission does not intend to call the Minister of Education to give evidence in this thing. Stabrook News had an editorial, travesty, where they criticize what is going on. How can the Minister of Education not be called to give evidence in this inquiry? Now the minister wrote a long, long letter in Stabrook News. I guess it might have been elsewhere as well. Basically, what she's saying that the responsibility for the maintenance of these dams and all of these things is not the responsibility of the Ministry of Education. It is the responsibility of the Ministry of Local Government. And she go on, she turned shaggy. It wasn't me. And she danced. And after she wrote that, Stabrook News then wrote another editorial. GSK Lal, everybody critical, because you cannot see how you're going to have a credible Commission of Inquiry into the Mahdia file without calling the Minister of Education to give evidence. And the reason for that is because the Minister of Education commissioned an investigation by UNICEF, United Nations International Education Fund, I think that's what it is. UNICEF, she commissioned a report, an investigation. A report was done and presented to the very minister. And in that report, the people flagged the security of the dams, heavily grilled, no fire extinguisher, not clearly marked for exits and that type of thing. That was flagged in the report presented to the minister. That report wasn't made available immediately. Stabrook News again broke that, and then people started to dance. But the minister is now saying that this is not our responsibility, the ministry's responsibility to deal with this. And you know, as I said, she wrote again up to yesterday. Yesterday? She wrote letters again. But you know, there's a part of this thing. Stabrook News had a editorial yesterday entitled "The Minister and the Report on the Dam." Let me read a quick part before I bring in my colleague to obviously say. Following the death of 20 children after the Mahdia dormitory fire on 21st of May, the public's major interest is twofold: ensure that such a tragedy never occurs again, and establish as best as possible where responsibility lay. This was the single biggest loss of life in years. Children in the care of the state, whether the school, municipality, region, or ministry. And that is so. They were in the care of the state. Then it goes on to say, the more the Minister of Education, P.M. Manichan, writes about this matter, a clearer picture emerges of the failures that precipitated this horrendous incident, where there is, of course, great interest in avoiding blame and moral responsibility. In our latest correspondence of November 6 to this newspaper, Ms. Manichan rejected the view expressed in Stabrook News editorial November 4th that the dormitory children were under the direct care of the Ministry of Education. And hear what she says, hear what the minister says, quoting from Stabrook News. For whoever is interested in the truth, I repeat, the maintenance of all schools, dorms, teachers' quarters, hiring of staff like dorm parents, cook and securities, supervision of students and residents in dorm, etc., is the regions, in the regions, are the direct responsibility of the regional administration, which is governed by the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. Dorm children, therefore, are under the direct care of the regional administration, which is managed and governed by the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. That is what she says. Now, Eva Stabrook News, and I agree this, Stabrook News says, if it is the case that the regions are completely responsible for the maintenance of the dorms, Why then did the minister commission a report funded by UNICEF on the conditions of the dam? The report was entitled Assessment Report Field Study of Dormitory Plants. Shouldn't such a report then have been initiated by the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development and not the Ministry of Education? Did the minister consult with her colleague minister on the commissioning of the report or advise UNICEF that she was undertaking a task that really was not in her bailiwick? And those are pertinent questions. The minister commissioned the report. The report was submitted to the Minister of Education. And now the Minister of Education is saying that the responsibility for these children in the dams is not the responsibility of the Ministry of Education. Talking about dancing and more you talk, the more the thing becomes ridiculous. The thing goes on further to say a lot of stuff. Starbuck News in the editorial, but I just read a part. You're invited to read it. It's there yesterday. What I say again, sometimes you got to understand it is better to shut up and stay quiet. I had asked in my last letter in relation to the issue with the appointment or the non-appointment of the acting commissioner, Nigel Laffy. I had said then in the letter that it is time for the Minister of Legal Affairs to put up or shut up. When I hear anything from you further, so I suspect he's not putting up, he's shutting up. I am advising the Minister of Education, Madam, it is time that you shut up. You got to put up. It is time that you shut up because no right-thinking person will ever believe that the responsibility for those dams is not the responsibility of your ministry. And again, as Starbuck News asked, if it was not your responsibility, why did you commission UNICEF to conduct an investigation on the conditions of the dam? Why did you say in previous correspondence that you shared this report with the relevant authorities? You even went on to say that you took the thing, you took it to cabinet, and now you want us to believe that it was not your responsibility. You got to be the most dedicated person in this whole country because it is not your responsibility, but you took control and you took the responsibility, you took on the responsibility to deal with it. So let's see. CC, let me hear your view on this thing, man. This thing is making it rounds in the media. Let me hear your view about whether the minister was responsible or not.
Paul, I read the minister's statement, letters. I look at the editorial from Starbuck News. And you may recall, Paul, that even before the Starbuck News editorial, we spoke about the absence of the minister, that the minister didn't go and testify at the inquiry. And we thought that it would have been critical, important for the minister, but here is now minister is dancing. And the thing is that it's soca playing and she waltzing. She not even doing a little fine wine, she waltzing to soca. You you cannot you cannot delegate your responsibility. That's my teaching in terms of leadership and management. You cannot delegate your responsibility. Your overall responsibility remains with you. You delegate authority for a certain person to do the job, but the responsibility remains with you. And she can't blame Ministry of Regional Development and local government and those things. Yes, they are responsible to look after the building, see that the building is good condition, as the case may be. But the security of our children, the safety of our children is lies with the minister, and she can't dance out of that. She can't dance out of that, and you can't say it's the other person's fault. You can't be like Shaggy and say it was me, or you can't say the man in the mirror is not me. Or as I said, you said a couple days ago, you can't be like Michael Jackson, say Billie Jean is not my girl, therefore Jade is not my son. No, no, it's you, and you have to face your responsibility. We would have expected that the minister would have gone there and give us a proper or vision of how she see things happening in the future. so that we wouldn't have those 20 persons killed at the fire scene there. I mean, she will take some blows, yes, but blows are something are designed to make you stronger. That next time you'll be more careful. Next time you hold your responsibility. And she can't say that, hey, the UNICEF report, she pass it on to the relevant authorities. That is not leadership that you pass on. Yes, you would pass on, but you gotta ensure that it is completed to your satisfaction. She said all the recommendations were approved by Parliament and she passed on to other relevant authorities. What nonsense is that? You have to ensure that that is done. And there's something called vicarious liability. I have to rush down back to my notes when I did a press course in 1981. And the DPP then, very great man, George Jackman, give us a definition for vicarious liability. So I delve in my library, and I have quite a little law books in my library, and I pay for all of them, I did not obtain them otherwise. And here is what Prosecutor's Note said: vicarious liability or imputed liability is a legal rule that holds a person or company responsible for actions committed by others or by their employees. Typically, it applies to those who are in control of people and who cause harm to them. Let me go over. Vicarious liability or imputed liability is a legal rule that holds a person or company responsible for actions committed by others or by their employees. Typically, typically it applies to those who are in control of people who cause harm to victims. So there's it. Minister there, her responsibility, and she's trying to shed it. She's trying to get away from it, saying that it wasn't me. It was the relevant authorities. She is the relevant authority. And from she should have gone to that inquiry and give evidence, show us the way forward, how the ministry is going to put things in place to ensure that we don't have those kind of incidents, those murderous incidents that took place. So I'm saying the minister dancing, she waltzing, but soca playing, and she not even fine whining.
She's not even fine whining. She's not in step with what is going on. She's not in step with what is going on. But let me say this. It brings into question the credibility of the commission. Because as I noted that the ministers have to volunteer to go there, The commission has the legal authority to summon the minister to go and to give evidence before it. So the blame, even though we're trying to blame the minister, the blame lies with the commission, because the commission is legally empowered to demand the presence of the minister to go there and give evidence. She can go there and do like the people in America, Donald take the fifth. That is to say that she's not going to answer the question on the grounds that any answer she gave might tend to incriminate her. She can take that. It's not the Fifth Amendment in Guyana Constitution, but we know what we're talking about the Fifth. What I'm saying, in the absence of the evidence or testimony from the minister, this whole commission of inquiry, as some will view by some, whoever report comes out as a sham, it will be viewed as a sham. And I remember very early in the day, I made the point that the very lawyer who represented the victims, the relatives of the victims in that negotiation, some people say coercion, to take $5 million as compensation. I was aghast to see that is the same lawyer is the lawyer for the commission of inquiry. And if that is not a conflict of interest, I don't know what is. So this whole thing is just a sham. This whole thing is just a sham. Whatever report comes out there is just a cover-up. It's just for cover-up. And again, I say, it brings into question the credibility of those members who are there. It brings into sharp question their credibility. Because again, I say that they have the authority to summon the minister to go and give it. The minister have to volunteer to come, whether she don't want to come or not. You can summon her, and she's compelled by law to go and give the evidence. And CC, you reminded me of a very good concept, vicarious liability. I did that some years ago. I remember it was very prominent and prevalent. We used to be taught that during the course of price control and all of that, where people sold, because once the shop was yours, people used to say, well, the bartender or somebody sold above the price, but then they say you were vicariously responsible. Very good piece of information. The very, very piece of information. So let's see. Again, I don't think it is too late. I don't think they've stopped taking evidence. And even if they are stopped, it can always be open for to take additional evidence. I cannot see the Mahdia Commission of Inquiry coming up with a credible and believable report in the absence of testimony from the Minister of Education, Priya Manikchan, who commissioned the UNICEF report, who received that report, who said she tabled it, she passed it to the relevant authorities, and she tabled it in cabinet. She ought to be made to say what spurred her to commission the report. Having received the report, what did she do? And remember, it's not only UNICEF report, you know. The fire service, the Guyana Fire Service indicated that they had 2 reports which flagged those iron grills as of real dangerous fire hazard and recommended their removal, and nothing was done. And I say this in closing off on this matter. If the minister had showed the same zeal, zest, and enthusiasm to deal with the report from UNICEF, we might not have had the death of those 20 children, because at least she might have seen the need to have those grills removed from the building. She might have seen the need to have fire extinguishers in the building. And from all the evidence, had it not been for those grills, children would have been able to be rescued or would have escaped. There's no doubt about that. It was because of the grill. And the one child is charged, but that child did not put the grill. They're claiming that the child started the fire. But you have to look to see contributory factors and all of that. So let's see where that will go. Since you want to say anything further on this before we move off?
I agree with you, Paul, that a report without a minister's testimony can't be a credible report. It can't be credible at all. Minister should have been there. And as you rightly mentioned, it is not too late for the commission to get the minister to testify. I'm sure there are many gray areas there that need to be cleared up. We need to have a vision of what is going to happen in the future. But there is it, the minister dancing, and apparently we had all indication, that she's going to dance all this thing, because she compromised herself when she went at the opening there and her photograph was taken. So that was all indication that, hey, minister and going to go and give any evidence there because she don't compromise.
Well, let's see where that will go. I don't anticipate. I don't have any great expectations for that. But let's move on. The next thing, I saw a news item the other day. It grieved me, and I say I have to mention it. And it speaks about a 16-year-old boy murdered, a 16-year-old minor, M-I-N-E-R, in the interior. 16-year-old, he was a minor. He got involved in some altercation with some other person. He stabbed and he's killed. 16-year-old, a minor. It reminds me of not so long ago on the Essequibo coast, a 13-year-old was employed by a businessman. He was on a truck. He fell down. He fell off the truck and he died. I saw a recent report in the media that the businessman is charged, but for some labor law. He's not charged under the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, but he's charged under the labor law for employing an underage person. But we have a 13-year-old who should be in school, working at a place, and a 16-year-old who is a minor. And the thing says that they were imbibing, he and the others were imbibing, and they had some argument with some guy. He was stabbed and he was killed. We are in a sad state. We are really in a sad state when things like that happen. Assisi, 16-year-old minor, my brother, 16-year-old. You should be
Yeah,
in school.
well, it's rampant in the interior, especially in the gold mining area. It's there, and I don't know what the Ministry of Labor is really doing, or even Geology and Mines Commission. They remember what they're doing, and even the police. But the Minister of Labor sometimes make quite a lot of wild statements. But it's a case here, clear case of child labor, and maybe they should get involved, like how they belatedly get involved in the Essequibo matter.
Yeah, well then, yeah, you gotta. I mean, this thing is unaccepted. You get children working under those dangerous conditions, and then they die, and very little is done. So I think they need to address this issue more aggressively. Child labor. Those children should be in school trying to get an education, but they're working on a truck with a businessman. This man is in the interior mining, I suspect, for gold, and that is what happens. And he's imbibing, get into the argument, he's stabbed and he's killed. Sad situation, very sad situation. Now, CC, I need to remind the police and the police office commissioner about this Inspector Roop story. Because Inspector Roop, as we have said, this man is charged since April of this year for a sexual offense against some child or a young person. April, he's charged and he's appears before the court. He is put on bail, I think it was. The man is still working. A man who is charged and before the court is still in uniform, Inspector Police uniform, working, when he should be interdicted and placed on AFP or whatever it is until the outcome of the charge. I know, as we have said before, that at the time when he appeared in April, there was no legitimate, lawful police service commission. So he could not have been lawfully interdicted, given that is accepted. But as soon as the police service commission became fully legally operational, that should have been one of the first things on their plate. The chairman of the police service commission, they say he's a bishop. I know if he's a bishop from the religious standing, or if he's a bishop on the chessboard, but they say he is a bishop. And then you have the secretary, Jaigobin Jai Singh, who is there, who should have brought this thing to the commission attention immediately for them to take action. And somebody suggested to me that maybe the police did not send the report to the Police Service Commission. And I said to them, as a former chairman of the Police Service Commission, a report like that in the media, and if no report comes, the Service Commission that I chaired would have written to the police service, to the police force, for them to say what is the position with this matter that appears in the media, that a police inspector is charged criminally, and we have not seen any report. Day after Jaigobin Jai Singh, the secretary, been there for donkey years, you have to know the procedure. So even if this bishop, whether it's a religious bishop or a chessboard bishop, even if he is not aware or au fait with the procedure, it's the responsibility of the secretary to tell him what is going on. But it's an abomination to have a person who is charged criminally for such a serious offense to be working in the police uniform, while others during the same period have been interdicted, not by the commission necessarily, but by the extended squatter, interdicted from duty pending half pay. That is when he is in the mood to interdict, because he has been dismissing arbitrarily in matters of that nature. So it is time the Police Service Commission act in accordance with the regulations, in accordance with the law. And it's for them to know, and I'm telling them as a former chairman, your role is not only for promotion, your role, you have other roles as well, discipline, and in cases like these, you have to act to suspend, to interdict the person from duty. Let me bring in another member, a former member of the Police Service Commission, my colleague, Mr. Conway, to obviously. CC, how can a police inspector be working all these months and facing the courts on a criminal charge? A matter, serious matter, that if he's found guilty, he can be sent to jail. How can that be? Since how many months now?
Perhaps he has friends in high places, Because the allegations are that when the DPP recommended charges, the file stuck for a long while at police headquarters in the office of the extended squad room. Those are the allegations. And then when it went to the East Coast, it took another long time before charges could have been laid. So I won't be surprised if, as we speak, no file has been sent to the Police Service Commission. But as you rightly mentioned, when we were operating as members of the Service Commission before the president unlawfully suspended us, we used to look out. We used to read the papers. We used to check the news. And if you see anything in relation to discipline, because the Police Service Commission has discipline, promotion, removal of office, of inspectors, assistant commissioner. And when we saw those things, we used to write, or used to get a secretary to write the commission and say, hey, this thing is a report. Is it true? Let me have a report as a case. Maybe. So it boggles the mind that so long no action be taken. But sometimes you rather whether it's a religious bishop or a bishop. Perhaps the bishop has been checkmated, And the thing is that, I always got to remember last year on on the 4th of July, the bishop said that he was awaiting the list of ranks to be promoted, the recommendation of ranks to be promoted from the Commissioner of Police on the 1st of July. And on the 2nd of July, 250 something persons were promoted. So they couldn't do no due diligence. Persons who were out of the job, they promoted civilian. They promoted a woman 2 times. Persons with serious, as senior superintendent with serious disciplinary matters pending were promoted, and that is against the rule. We had tremendous supersession. One man jumped from inspector to superintendent with no real academic or professional qualifications. He's a triple jumper. Perhaps at the next Olympics, we should send him to that Olympics because he's a triple jumper, and we might get our first gold medal. But I'm not. I don't have too much of confidence in the service commission. Their track record bad. Track record bad. You're saying on the first, you're waiting on recommendation, and on the second, you're promoted 250 something person. Total madness.
Total madness. When we talk about triple jump, I had the privilege of being at the Commonwealth game in Gold Coast when the Guyana won the triple jump gold medal. But let me say this, you talk about being proactive. I remember, let me give them one example. When we were at the Police Service Commission, there was something on the news that a police officer is alleged to have sexually attempted or assaulted a female journalist. That was in the news. And after a while, we did not see any report coming to the Police Service Commission. And we, as members of the Service Commission, wrote to the commissioner to find out what this thing is all about, because we have, the commission has a responsibility to deal with discipline. And we wrote to find out. And of course, they dance. And when I see the same set of people now, serious allegation that the man invited a journalist, a female journalist, his office on the pretext that he's going to provide information she wanted. And then he went on and he attempted to, he assaulted her, attempted to sexually assault her. That report was there in the media. And nothing came from the force within a short space of time. And we wrote. I don't know what happened to that. I think eventually the DPP intervened. And I think I can't be sure, but I know he wasn't charged. I know that he wasn't charged. He was just removed from the office that he occupied. Yeah, so we were indeed proactive. And I'm urging the bishop to stop being a chessboard bishop and to be a real bishop. Perhaps you can take a page from Ian Bishop, the cricket commentator, and make sure you get the secretary. Because the secretary in an affidavit some time ago said that he know everything. He been there for very long. And he told a lot of lie in the affidavit. So get him to do what is necessary. But Inspector Roop, who is charged criminally since April of this year, should not continue to be wearing the uniform and working. He should be interdicted until the outcome of the charge. That is what the rule of law requires, because others have suffered the same fate, and so too should Inspector Roop. But let me move on. And we're going to talk now about this Venezuela border issue. But before I talk about it, I have a short tape, well, our 6 minutes, I want to show you folks. And thereafter, my colleague and I will get involved in some discussions and update you on what has been happening. So let me give you this tape. Let me try to find it. And where is it? Yes, here it is.
My government supports Guyana's sovereign right to develop its own natural resources. The United States finds efforts to infringe upon Guyana's sovereignty unacceptable. The United States supports a peaceful resolution to this issue, whether through the decision of an international judicial body or agreement of the parties. With this in mind, we call on Venezuela to respect international law, including the 1899 arbitral award, as well as the ongoing International Court of Justice process between Guyana and Venezuela.
We note with concern report on the recent developments regarding the status of the Guyana-Venezuela border dispute, and particularly the proposed referendum to be carried out by Venezuela to claim the Essequibo region. In this regard, the Jamaican delegation fully aligns with the position adopted by CARICOM through its statement and consistently and unwavering support for international law and for the position adopted by CARICOM. Jamaica views the ICJ adjudication process as a positive signal towards a peaceful resolution of this issue, and one which will give validity to future outcomes. In this regard, it is our hope that Venezuela will participate meaningfully in the ICJ's adjudication process and to fully comply with Article 4 of the Geneva Agreement that was implemented in 1966 to resolve the border conflict between nations. Guyana can continue to count on Jamaica's support in defense of their sovereign rights and its territorial integrity.
We respect Guyana's sovereign right to defend its territory, as has been outlined in the 1899 Arbitral Award. What we all seek, however, is peaceful and mature solutions to the issues of conflict, and particularly within this region. In a world that has become so uncertain and so unpredictable, we must have peaceful, equitable outcomes in accordance with international law. We must also respect our reputation as a zone of peace. Barbados stands with Guyana and on the side of international law.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago has consistently underscored the importance of the Western Hemisphere as a zone of peace and affirmed its adherence to the fundamental principles of international law enshrined within the Charter of the OAS. These principles have been echoed by Guyana, our CARICOM sister country, and have been firmly supported by the government of Trinidad and Tobago within that body as well, as expressed in statements by CARICOM. Trinidad and Tobago will continue to stand as an interlocutor of peace on this issue, which the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, has determined to be within its jurisdiction. To that end, Trinidad and Tobago looks forward to each party's full engagement in the ICJ process.
And Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, within the span of 1 week, has visited both countries and has held high-level discussions with both leaders. It is the belief of St. Lucia that the long-standing conflict between Venezuela and Guyana should be resolved through the International Court of Justice, which has the standing and exclusive jurisdiction for settling this dispute peacefully and equitably within the ambits of international law. However, St. Lucia's message heard today is consistent with our country's desire to keep our region as a zone of peace.
The Bahamas' commitment to supporting efforts towards a peaceful, equitable outcome of this dispute in accordance with the rule of law.
The impending referendum, characterized by questions that seem designed to influence a predetermined outcome, appears to be a further attempt to legitimize the annexation of Essequibo. It is crucial to emphasize that these questions ignore the existing 1899 International Arbitral Award, which delineated the boundaries between Venezuela and Guyana. Moreover, they disregard the ongoing case before the International Court of Justice aimed at determining the validity of this award. We urge Venezuela to participate in the ICJ process, which many of our member states have utilized and continue to use for peaceful and legal dispute settlement. This process offers a neutral and lawful platform for addressing disputes, and adherence to them is in the best interest of all nations. Antigua and Barbuda enjoys friendly relations with both Guyana and Venezuela. We would like to see a legal and peaceful settlement of this border matter through the international legal process.
Yeah, folks, I thought it important to, I saw that yesterday, so I think it was important for you to get an understanding of what is going on. Now, I agree with some of the comments that the more should be done to educate people. We have been saying that from the beginning, that we need to make sure that the Guyanese public is made fully aware of what this controversy, and yeah, you're right, there's no dispute, there's a controversy. What the controversy is all about. The dispute was settled since 1899, but then the controversy arose in 1962. And on Monday, the University of Guyana had a symposium at the Pegasus Hotel. I was privileged to be there. My colleague too was there. And there were some excellent presentations. I would like to take this opportunity to compliment the people from UG who put this thing together. You had, let me go through, for example, you had on the symposium Dr. Nigel Gravesandi, who's an historian at the university, and he walked us through exactly what this thing is all about. We have Dr. Carl Greenidge, and let me tell you his credentials, apart from being a former foreign affairs minister under the coalition government. He is also the Guyana government agent to the ICJ, and is an advisor on border matters. You have Senior Counsel Mr. Ralph Ramkaran, and he's a former Speaker of the National Assembly, and he too was a facilitator to the United Nations Good Officer Project relating to the Geneva Agreement. And Mr. Ramkaran made a very interesting point, and he said that he has been involved in this whole process with this controversy for years. And he made the point that based on what is going on now, this thing has never been ratcheted up like how Venezuela has done now. And he's saying there's every reason for us Guyanese to be concerned. So despite what people tell you, don't take it easy, no need to worry. Mr. Ralph Ramkaran, who has been involved in this project or this process, the Good Officers process, for a number of decades, told the symposium that there is every reason to be alarmed, concerned. Those are my words, not his. But that is what he said with this referendum and all of that. And then we had also speaking there was Dr. Bartland Scotland, former speaker, and he too Dr. Scotland is a member of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Advisory Committee on Border Matters. So you had people with excellent credentials. You also had a migration specialist, Dr. Corinne Jacobs, and Dr. Carol Lord, who's a psychologist. Two students from the University of Guyana Student Association also spoke. This was a fantastic symposium. I said it was a good start, I emphasize start, and they should continue because there was so much information coming out there from these very knowledgeable persons that a lot of things, I believe, it was so educational. I found it very educational. The auditorium was packed to capacity, and I think they streamed it live, and I would hope that they would do something to have that circulated, because they also said that they intend to have other sessions. Now, let me bring in Mr. Conway, because he was there for his take on this symposium. CC, what were your impressions of the symposium? Or what are your takeaways?
It was excellent, great presentations by those persons that you mentioned. They're experts in their own field. They also had question and answers session. Persons asked questions, some person made comments. It was lively. But that's what we've been calling for. We're calling for education. And I hope that this thing would spread across the country. And I think a good thing they did too, they took some information from us as we registered, and they said certain documents would be sent to us. So I'm looking forward to get those documents. And also, Paul, as we discussed, Kit Nascimento was there, and he spoke about some flyers available, and he said that the flyers are available at the office of the president. If we want, we can go. But as you and I discussed that, hey, that is total nonsense. Nobody shouldn't go to the office of the president to get flyers. They must distribute it all over the place. Hold more sessions and distribute them at the car parks, at the markets, and all over the place. Put it on police vehicles. People mustn't go to the office of the president to get flyers. Nonsense. But it was all in all, it was a good session. I went there. I learned a lot, and I hope that there will be other sessions, virtual and otherwise, across the country.
Yeah, I hope so too. Well, one thing with Mr. Nascimento, he introduced himself as the man responsible for public relations at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in relation to this matter. And he did not say office of the president. He said Ministry of Foreign Affairs. These documents are available at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And let me say this, Kit like he getting on, because Kit Nascimento, a public relations specialist, ought to have known that the way to deal with that is not inviting people to go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to collect bumper stickers and to get pamphlets. They should have embarked on an aggressive campaign to get the money to go all over the place and distribute those things, go to the parks, go to the clubs, go to the schools, and distribute those bumper stickers, especially bumper stickers at the park. You know, I went into a eating establishment about over a month ago, and I saw bumper stickers, not a blade of grass, at the cashier counter. And I asked for 2, and I was given 2. And I immediately put them on my vehicle. That is since in September. So the things have been available all the time. I have not seen any billboard as yet. We want to see billboard around the place with the map of Guyana as we know it, as prescribed by the 1899 award, by the Schomburg line. We want to see the thing. They should get involved, Kit. Let me give some advice. I'm not a PR man, but they should get caps, T-shirts, and all of these things to distribute to schools and so on, so that people can know what the map of Guyana looks like and why we should continue to mobilize on this issue. And I was very disappointed. They had the extraordinary sitting of the National Assembly on Monday, and they took some school children in the sitting, and that was about it. And I said, we are missing these opportunities to send a clear signal how united we are on this issue. And I said that we should have had thousands of people outside of the debate center there, the Artachon Convention Center, with signs and placards and T-shirts and caps and all this type of thing. Not a blade of grass. to let the world know how united we are on this issue. That is what we should do. We are not doing enough. You have billboards with the president. You have billboard with the extended squatter. Imagine they have a road safety campaign and the picture of the extended squatters on a billboard. And I'm saying that we should have billboards all over this country with this Venezuelan issue. And if you have problem with space to put up the billboard, cut down the billboard with the extended squatter. Remove the billboard with the president, because this issue is far more important than this egotistical posters that they are putting up and billboards that they are putting up, wasting taxpayers' money. We have the resources. Let's make sure spread out all over the country and let people know what the issue is. People are saying it, and I agree with you that a lot of people don't know what the issue is, because I can tell you, even though I believe that I have read recently and I'm fairly well informed, when I went to that symposium on Monday night, some new information came to me. New information I got from the symposium, the presenters, and I am saying that this thing requires a more robust effort. Nascimento says he's a PR man. Well, it is time that you earn your pay, and you can't go in my time, which is slow time. You have to go at a rapid pace. And he did say that in Venezuela, children are taught from very early. They are indoctrinated to believe that Essequibo belongs to them. They know about the zone of reclamation and all of that. And here we are. And he did say too, in fairness to him, he did say that they are now putting this thing in the curriculum of the schools, which is a good thing. And this cannot be a one-off effort. This thing now has to be sustained, because as some presenters have said, Venezuela is laying the ground to make sure that they do not recognize the decision of the International Court of Justice, which from all indication will go against them. All indication. So they're now laying the groundwork to say with this referendum that they're not going to recognize the decision. It means, therefore, that even when the ICJ hands down its decision, this border controversy is likely to continue. So we have to have a sustained effort to make sure that our population, especially now that we are being infiltrated by so many Venezuelans, and I use the word infiltrated deliberately, by so many, because I don't know who are the people coming. Only recently, a man, Venezuelan with guns and cocaine. Last week, Venezuelan with drugs at the Harbor Bridge. That's in Demerara. And how many more? They're talking, even the second vice president spoke about agent provocateurs and all that. You have to have a robust arrangement. And at the symposium, the migration specialists spoke about that. How you deal with people who are migrating. Some of them are economic migrants. Some of them are just refugees. I don't even know the distinction. So we have got to make sure that people are educated. I don't know the difference between an economic migrant and a refugee. I really don't know. That is the truth. I don't know. And I'm saying that we have to be more aggressive in this campaign to educate. We are behind the 8 ball. Venezuela is way ahead. Somebody said it, the light one said up to last night. President Maduro was on TV in Venezuela and berating President Ali and ratcheting up this claim. We have got to do much more than we are doing. My colleague CC has been calling for the president to address the nation. He has not done so as yet. CC, maybe you have to call him again. Maybe it's time for you to issue another call. Please go ahead.
Yes, I say the time is long overdue for the president to address the nation, face the nation. Don't go to West Demerara and make a little wild statement. Don't go to somewhere else and then put on a Jumbie uniform and make a statement about things. Address the nation. Address the nation. And we had the members of parliament at a session. Now, the thing is that I would have expected that there was a wonderful opportunity for the president to address the parliamentarians, address them and set the tone. I know that the president is not a member of parliament, but according to the Constitution of Guyana, and I like to read the Constitution, can one say, convey say, or pass through say. And here is what Article 67, one of the 671 of the Constitution of Guyana say: the president may at any time attend and address the National Assembly. The president may at any time attend and address the National Assembly. This one. 2, the president may send messages to the National Assembly, and any such message shall be read at the first convenient sitting of the Assembly after it is received by the Prime Minister or by any other minister designated by the president. So, according to the Constitution, although the president is not a member of parliament, he can address the National Assembly, or he could send messages. But here's it. We have politicians from both sides of the divide in parliament went, and they quite rightly condemned the Venezuelan unjust claim. But nothing, I can't remember hearing the bits and pieces that I heard. I can't remember hearing anyone of them refer to anything that the president said. Maybe they said, but I in the little clips that I saw, that the president has got to be authoritative. He got to take the bull by the horns. And you should show back this clip. There's a clip with Forbes Burnham, who was the prime minister, 2 days after Venezuela took total control of Coco, that island that where the Wenemu flows into the Guyana River, and they took it over. The eastern side belongs to Guyana, the western side is Venezuela, and they took over everything. 2 days afterward, here's it, that Prime Minister Burnham, and let me make it clear, I don't believe in all of the policies that Burnham dealt with. Some I totally disagree, but he has some good ones. And this one where 2 days after they annexed Coco Island, here was the Prime Minister, and in part of his speech to the nation, and he ain't going to talk about people who want to make front page and have anything there. He said that he sent 2 senior government officials and two senior police officers to check, to verify, to confirm that this thing was happening, because you remember fake news was there at the time too, not only in Trump time. This guy, he confirmed, and not only confirmed, he spoke with, he informed the leader of the opposition, and he had discussions with him in relation to the matter, and he addressed the nation quite eloquently, statesman-like presentation. And here's it. I think sometime in December, is it 3rd or thereabout, where they had the referendum in Venezuela, and up to now, our president can't face the nation. Our president can't address the nation. Our president had a wonderful opportunity to call in the National Assembly and address the politician there, or send messages, and nothing of the kind. So I'm calling him out. I'm calling out, Mr. President, please address the nation, and address it like a statesman, not like some little political meeting about the place.
But the people say your wish of night is my command. So let me play the tape that you're talking about for the benefit of all.
At one point of Guyana's western border with Venezuela, the Wenemu River flows into the Cuyuni River, and there is an island at this junction called Coco Island, of about 2 to 3 square miles. According to the map in existence since 1904, the border runs roughly through the center of Ankoko Island from north to south, so that the western part of the island is Venezuelan and the eastern Guyanese. For some time, in fact during last month, a number of Venezuelans were crossing onto the Guyanese side and have since then been carrying out certain works on our territory. The report of this came to the notice of the government a few days ago only, and an inspection party consisting of senior officials and 2 senior police officers visited the island the day before yesterday, Wednesday the 12th of October. This party verified and confirmed the earlier report received through unofficial channels. In the opinion of the government, this intrusion by Venezuelans constitutes a breach of the Geneva Agreement entered into between the governments of the United Kingdom and Venezuela on the 17th of February 1966, to which agreement the government of Guyana is now a party. And today I have sent a cable to Dr. Iribarren Borges, the Foreign Minister of Venezuela, strongly protesting the intrusion of Venezuelan personnel onto Guyanese territory and asking that immediate steps be taken by the government of Venezuela to ensure the immediate withdrawal of all such personnel. I have this morning informed the leader of the opposition of the situation and held discussions with him. Meanwhile, I await a reply from the Venezuelan government. I consider it my duty to inform the nation of this latest development and to assure you that every step is being taken to retain our territorial sovereignty by peaceful means. Your government proposes to abide by the terms of the Geneva Agreement and is hopeful that the government of Venezuela will do likewise. You are asked to remain calm and to await further information. Long live Guyana.
I felt compelled to show it. But you know, one of the things that we spoke about too is this, you know, this place is not a real place. We are talking about the need to make sure people are educated, to spend little money to make sure people are educated. We were very critical of this treasonous act of placing the Spanish word policia on police vehicles. Last week we played where the second vice president made a statement in respect to that. Let me play it again for you. Here we go.
So let me explain to you. It's it's misguided. The police should have never put police here there. What? They should have, it's misguided. They should have never. It's not the emblem. It's not the emblem, it's just the name. It's still our emblem, the Guyana Police Force, but they put Policia in Spanish. They were instructed to change that. They were instructed to change that. They must put police. They can put in small letters Policia and in Portuguese, in Spanish, etc. because the people who are here need to know what our police are, so they don't get, when the police put on the siren, they get away. But our main thing is, anywhere you go to the...
America, yeah. You know how many countries in America, right? And you just one
No. I travel around. I go to Europe. They got three different things on it. But the key thing is police, where Guyana is English speaking, and they must put police at the top, and they were instructed to change that. Okay? So that was the instruction to the...
Not indeed in particular when the second vice president tell you, remove the big word police, puts a small letter in police at the bottom. What sense that thing make? I want to know what sense that is making. You're removing the big word police here, you put it small. So if you say that they need to recognize the vehicle as being police vehicle, so the color doesn't matter. The fact that most of those vehicles have flashing light, and if they don't recognize, if you're gonna remove the big sign, you're gonna put a smaller one for them to be able to identify this vehicle. This thing is so nonsensical, that statement, that I really don't know. And it reminds me, there's a controversy going on right now, CC. I don't know if you know. A man is recorded as referring to a next person as a jackass. This person who made the comment is a part-time or a lecturer at UG. So this thing was recorded, and they said they're going to discipline this man for referring to the other person as a jackass. And I had to ask myself, I had to say to myself, how can you discipline a person for calling another person by their correct name? How can you discipline a person, a man called about a jackass, and they're going to discipline that person? You're disciplining a person for calling the person by their correct name? And more than, unless of course, you're disciplining, or you're investigating a complaint from a jackass. That someone referring to perhaps lesser animals as a jackass, if you got the drift of what I am saying. And when you listen to this type of statement, this type of foolishness that some of these people want to say, you got to wonder to know which part of the world, which planet they are from. And therefore I say the investigation by the UG, where it alleged that a man was called a jackass, as a former senior police officer, you cannot investigate a person for calling a next person by their correct name and designation. Full stop. Don't waste money and say you're investigating. But let me show you another clip based on what the second vice president said. Look what was happening a few days ago. Operation Remove Policia. This is what it has to be. Operation Remove Policia. But then I saw something yesterday. Let me show you what it is. Look. So apparently, effect is being given to the statement by the second vice president that the big policia should remove. And if you see carefully there, this is a vehicle. I don't know if this has been happening or this is occurred since. I suspect, however, if you look at the writing, that this happened within the last week. So apparently, they are following those foolish instructions to remove the big Spanish sign, and they're replacing it at the bottom with two small letters, as the second vice president said, small letters, policia. It makes absolutely no sense. And, however, the policing part of me would want to suggest that maybe these things are done so that people can get contract to get money. Because the question was asked before, who was contracted to put the police in the first place? Who is now contracted to remove those signs? We saw in the clip a while ago that the police rank was removing it. But now that you're placing it now in small letters, who get the contract? Is it gonna cost the nation now? In the meanwhile, you still have not been making enough signs and billboards in relation to this spurious claim by Venezuela. So your priorities, remember the same second vice president had said that maybe we can give a passageway. Let me show you what you said. This is what.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
This same gentleman was
statement to gentlemen used very loosely. So yeah, so we have those things. So the question is that maybe all of this is part of that. All of the policia sign, you know, the statement made about Venezuelans, people returning, being eligible to register and vote. They can now get identification card very easily. All is part of this thing. But let me bring in my colleague here now for him to obviously. CC, the clip with the signs being removed and replaced with smaller ones. I mean, this thing is so outrageous. What are your take on it?
The second vice president, very confusing. All he had to do a clear statement, take off police here, full stop. And some divisions, I know at least 2 divisions, they have taken off police here completely. So we're saying that they're disobeying the instructions of the second vice president. So it's a lot of confusion. Some police get it on, some get it off. You know, and the thing is confusing. Make it clear, police here out. And we shouldn't put it whether in big writing or small writing. It should have never been there. But then again, Jagdeo is not the man to be trusted. I can remember before election, he said he wasn't going to seek any political office, any political nor public office. And today he's a second vice president and behaving as though he's the only vice president, that he is the only vice president. According to the Constitution, the Prime Minister is the first vice president, and he should have precedence over all other vice presidents. But I don't hear anybody saying Prime Minister and first vice president. All hearing is Vice President Jagdeo, and he's confusing things, and it's open up to corruption, as you rightly say, and there may be breaching certain financial regulation. Tender board, did they follow tender board procedure? And the police who approve it, was it the finance officer, or was it the PS who's the accounting officer? Who did approve it? The force putting on, and how they taking off, and how much money it costs. And also I understand certain people collected money from headquarters to put on the police in, put the money in their pocket, and then they pork some people and put it on, you know. So it's corruption upon corruption, Paul.
It is corruption upon corruption. Time flies, CC, time flies. Look what happens here now. 1 hour and 25 minutes. We had this subject. Some police have asked us to go into the Police Discipline Act. I did all the research. I was prepared to address this matter, but time has caught up with us. So I would say to you, we can't make promises because the things are so fluid that you promise to deal with one subject and things intervene in the few days, and then you have to address those matters as a matter of urgency. So one of the things, however, I want to talk on as perhaps the last item for today is, before I go to that, I just want to tell you that we have continued our protest in front of the Venezuelan embassy. We were there yesterday. We were joined by a few more people. We welcome them, and we plan to be there tomorrow again at 10 o'clock. We're going to continue soldiering on, and people are welcome to join us. We have to make our voices heard that this craziness by Venezuela must stop. We have to show that at least on this issue, we are united, notwithstanding what the second vice president would have said about people trying to capitalize on this issue for political reasons. He's doing the same because all them board certificate and all of those things that are issued as political. There's no question about that. So we will continue to be there, and we're inviting you to join us. We are going to continue to be there, and we're going to invite you to join us tomorrow, Thursday, the 9th day of November. We're going to be there at 10 o'clock in front of the Venezuelan embassy in Thomas Street. And that's Thomas Street between Church Street and Kwamina Street. We are there peacefully in the avenue, and we are making, they come out every day, you know, that's the Venezuelans. Every day we are there, they come, they take photographs, they're very cordial. They take photographs and they take videos. So they're feeding back the information, no doubt, to Caracas in whatever reports they have. They come and they're very pleasant, so there's no animosity or anything like that. But we're not afraid. We are going to be there, and we're going to show that as Guyanese, as proud Guyanese, as patriotic Guyanese, not a blade of grass. We are going to continue to say that, not a blade of grass. But the thing that I want to close on, CC, is this traffic. You know, we have not spoken about traffic in a while, but notwithstanding that, people are dying on the road. And you're not hearing anything about what the plans are to deal with this traffic situation. You know, reflecting, when I look back at it, the extended squatter, the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, in the past months or so, I was looking to see what initiative they have put forward to deal with this traffic situation. And if you go back to the, let me go back to the minister. The minister had given instructions, I understand, from reliable source, that police traffic ranks should put on white gloves to be more visible. That is what the minister says. Taki, you think it's a joke? If you drive around now, you see police ranks with white gloves on their hands. That is supposed to make them more visible when they're giving directions. The next thing he said, remember, he went to said that he was going to approach Parliament to tweak the law to allow for diplomats and senior government functionaries to use warning appliances, that is a siren and flashing light on the vehicle. And then he had also directed, I understand, that the traffic men at certain intersections must go on a ladder. They must go on a ladder to direct the traffic, like visibility. And I think they were doing it outside of Avenue Republic and Brigham. And I made a joke then. I said, imagine a wicked minibus men showing chapters with the police. I used to say, police standing up on this, police precariously poised on this ladder, and the minibus man drive close to the ladder, show little chapters. You can imagine the policeman jumping off. That too, that seems to have finished, because you don't see that any longer. Those are the three initiatives I can recall from the minister: white gloves, tweaking the law to allow for siren and flashing light, and people standing up on ladder to direct traffic. From the extended squatter, he had a meeting, he transferred all the traffic heads, he rotated them. He instructed that they must line the roads, traffic police must line the road to prevent speeding. So, but I don't see them, so I don't know where they're lining this road. It's the type of craziness you get. And one wonders why we are in this mess. We are in this mess because we have a lot of people who are who don't have a clue as to how this matter should be dealt with. And we said, and I maintain, that this thing has to be dealt with comprehensively. The traffic chief come out like Glenn Maxwell, lock up, how many people, charge, 1,000, and what happens after a few weeks? You don't hear anything more? You're not hearing anything more from, in terms of initiative. And I've always said, no traffic campaign can deal with this matter effectively. This is not a policing problem any longer. This problem is beyond the police. On Monday, we pointed out to the situation where a man who pleaded guilty for drunk driving, having struck and killed someone, he pleaded guilty to drunk driving and he is fined $50,000. And you want to tell me that we're not going to remain in this craziness, in this mess on the traffic road? We are going to remain unless there's a comprehensive, well thought out plan, and all have to be involved. All. Just like how we're talking about the Venezuelan situation where you got to teach the schools and all that. Similarly with traffic, you got to go into the schools, you got to go all over and tell people, teach them. You're trying to change, when it comes to traffic, we are trying to change a lawless driving culture. And my teaching at the university taught me that it's not easy to change a culture. It is not easy to change a culture. So let me bring in Mr. Conway for his closing remarks, and then we are going to be out in a short while. CC, your closing remarks.
It is true, you know, the traffic chief, and I wouldn't rate him as Maxwell, you know. I maybe rate him as one of them West Indian tailenders, you know. Fire a couple of wild swipes and you get out and you go on your way. And it's true that we're not hearing anything but him. But perhaps Paul, we can send a female reporter to his office to get some information. She may very well get a whole lot of information there. But you mentioned about the extended squatter. He's still to talk to his ranks, and particularly those on the border. And I think he can go on a squatting exercise, you know. He could charter a plane and go to the various locations. The morale is low, like the present state of Amarillo Falls and Kaito Falls, very, 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 very low. So the morale needs to be lifted, and he needs to go and squat there for a while. Place like Ikeriku, Ittering Bang. I mean, I'm not giving out sensitive information here. Kaikan, Puruni, Morawano, Butiro, Moruko, certain place you go by plane, and then you got to plane and vehicle, and then by boat. That he needs to go and do some squatting and talk to them. They need the little words of encouragement so that they can move on. And I'm happy that at least there's some action being taken in terms of the dealing with the Venezuelan unjust claim. We had the symposium at Pegasus. We had a session with the parliamentarians, and we had some other things being done. But I'm still harping, I'm still crying out for the president to address this nation, for the president to face this nation and enlighten us, give us some more hope, some more encouragement as we deal with this situation.
Yeah, and as I indicated earlier, Mr. Ramkran did say that this thing is need for concern. And if you'll show, you know, the tape, this thing is going to be on YouTube and on Speaking Out page, Facebook. You can play back the address by the former Prime Minister, Lyndon Forbes Sampson Warner. I'll pick up some points from that. You can pick up some points. But folks, let me say, you know, let me close. We're going to close with what is part of our new theme song. Let me play it.
Struggle in the struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces